stories when you combine Wisconsin grit, relentless optimism, and a little pink glitter in a garage, you get Kitsch. But behind the billion-dollar glow is a story of heartbreak, hustle, handmade dreams, and a woman who bootstrapped her way through failure, postpartum anxiety, and the beauty industry's big leagues. This isn't a founder's fairy tale. It's the story of how Cassandra, built her house with no blueprint and how it's still standing strong. Welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us. In this week's Confessions of a Female Founder, Meghan reconnects with Cassandra Morales Thurswell, Cassie, founder of the wildly successful beauty brand Kitsch. Their conversation moves with the intimacy of old friends and the insight of two women who've walked through fire barefoot, with purpose. Cassie didn't build her empire with investors. She built it with late nights, borrowed wedding savings, glitter in the garage, and a prayer disguised as persistence. This isn't just a business story. This is a life story. Cassie's entrepreneurial spark ignited in a Wisconsin garage, making retainers with pink glitter for her stepdad's orthodontic patients. That wasn't just arts and crafts, it was the beginning of understanding customer care, personal touch, and the joy of service. She didn't call it branding, she called it being part of someone's story. Isn't that beautiful? Being part of someone's story. I just love that. Love that. Years before Kitsch, Cassie was saying yes to styling closets in LA, selling scarves with inspirational quotes, and launching one failed idea after another. Not because she had it figured out, but because she believed. She believed in the act of trying. I also love that, the act of trying. When Meghan recalls the Louboutin flats Cassie convinced her to buy,
this stylish and give me a vibe, to which you said yes.
Yes, I love this because I feel like this is a perfect example of, all of the things that I said yes to. I was like, yeah, I'm a stylist. I will be a stylist.
Now I'm a stylist.
Yes.
Yes.
I will add it to my resume of all the things that I aspire to be in life, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I really enjoyed our time together.
It was so fun. I mean, honestly, it was also, and this is pre-Suits for me. This is really early days when I was auditioning. And I just remember literally going through things and you saying, okay, well, there are a couple staples that you need. This is important because it speaks to, even though it wasn't the thing that you did, but you could add it to your resume, you talk about not having a strategy, but always hustling.
Yes.
And being able to say, okay, well, I don't necessarily know how to do this, but I'm going to figure out a way to be good at it. And when you called me and said, I just found the best pair of black patent leather Louboutin wedge flats, and they're $200, I remember going, that's as much as I pay. I cannot. You're like, I promise you, you are going to wear. I promise you. Do you know what's so funny? Because of course I wore those shoes till the red wore out. I wore those shoes on my final audition for Suits when I booked the part.
Oh, see, you know what? I am so intuitive. I wanted to put you in these power suits.
That's right.
And little did I know, it was an echo from the future. I had suits in mind, but it was just not a physical suit. It was the show suits.
Yeah, it was a vision board of a different kind. What year are we talking about when we met?
I had a vision of Suits. It was not physical Suits, but it ended up being the show Suits. A vision board of a different kind. You realize that Cassie isn't, or rather wasn't, just selling style. She was investing in women, in confidence, in that sacred act of showing up. Cassie didn't write the business plan. She didn't pitch investors. She sat on the floor of her apartment and made hair ties. Handmade hair ties. She packed them herself, sold them door to door. She was the designer, manufacturer, customer service rep, and fulfillment center. Gosh, it sounds like what I was doing when COVID 19 hit. Uh, my place was everything. Um, and every product asked one question: how can I make the thing you already use better? How can I make the thing you already use better? From pillowcases to spa headbands, from hair towels to silk scrunchies, Kitsch didn't just fill a market, it built it. It built a market. Everybody's in such a hurry to be successful, Cassie says. I love that line. Love it. But when you're bootstrapped, you can't be. You have to be very slow. You have to be very responsible, right? It sort of reminds me a little bit of, you see an artist that all of a sudden they become famous, or there is notoriety, or a song, or maybe a film or movie that they did, and we all start to know their name. And the word that's often used, or the phrase, overnight success. Overnight success. I don't know anyone who's had overnight success. So do you just wake up one day and decide, oh well, I'm going to be a singer, and you sing a couple of bars of whatever tune, then you go to sleep. You wake up the next day and there is paparazzi at your doorsteps or something. Overnight success doesn't really exist as far as I'm concerned. It takes work, it takes dedication. And many a times I think this overnight success, in some ways, with social media, because in social media you can literally blow up for something that is meaningless, means absolutely nothing. So someone was walking, boop, tripped, boom, and then it goes viral, and you're thinking, what, why, oh, right? I mean, I get it if it's funny, but literally, like, we've seen things that go viral that leaves most of us scratching our head, going, what's that, right? But to own one's craft is to practice it, is to work hard at it, is to study, is to, um, when one fails, is to get up again and try again. So overnight success, as I said before, does not really exist. Because we hear these singers and they'll have a hit song, and you know, people go, "Oh, I could have written that, or I could have done this, blah 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 blah," and you sort of watch the artist, and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's great," because many times we're not told that before any kind of success, that the person had to, work hard at it. The person got rejected many a times, right? Doors slammed in their faces, like, no, 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 thank you, no, 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 right? And we I really think that phrase should be banned, actually, because it gives us this false idea that success is achieved overnight, and it is not. I I I, I was looking up, for example, Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra, he started singing in bands, moving from one band to another, around 1930. And he didn't achieve any kind of notoriety until about 10 years later, right? So in the 1940s, early 1940s. Another artist like Carol G. Carol G was in a show called El Proyecto, no, El Factor X. So the X Factor, basically. And she was in it at, I think, at around, she was about 13, no, 13 or 14 years old. And after that, like she still went to university. She was in university for 5 years, um, fine tuning music, her craft, and she didn't achieve this success that she has presently overnight. It took a lot of work. And many people, when they see these artists, I think believe that it just happened overnight. You know, you went to a record company and they signed you, and you wrote this amazing song, and the following day you are a success. And that's not the case. And I think it's this false narrative that we sell. So when a person is actually trying or working to achieve something, if it doesn't come fast enough, many times they give up. Because the notion is that, well, how come he got it so easy and she got it so easy and this person got it so easy? Many times, no, it isn't. Many times they've had to put in work to achieve what they've got today, right? So, as Cassie said, you know, you have to be very responsible. That slowness, that sort of the discipline of intentional growth is what protected her vision. While others chase venture capital and viral launches and all of that, Cassie focused on reorders, on real customers, on real results. She she took meetings with buyers at Mexican restaurants, um, showed up without booths, right? So she didn't have a booth at the beauty expo because it was too expensive, and still got shelf space at Nordstrom Kids and later at Ulta. So you 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 use what you've got, and if I'm not mistaken, she didn't end up meeting the buyer. Um, uh, Her husband is the one who ended up doing the presentation for that beauty convention that they number one they couldn't attend. So she they just looked at a restaurant across from where the expo or the convention was happening and made reservations at a Mexican restaurant, right? So you become creative because you would think, oh well, how much is it? Oh, it's $20,000 to have a booth. Okay, do we have 20,000? No, we don't. Oh man, this was a really good opportunity. Oh no, no, don't stop there. Don't stop there, right? Yes, that's an obstacle. We don't have $20,000. So, is there an alternative? The person wants to meet us in person. The buyer wants to meet. Okay, well, let's just go to the city. Let's go to where this thing is happening. Maybe we'll just get a hotel room and meet them in the lobby of the hotel or something, or take them out to eat. There's right. So you use your brain and let it work in your favor because you're thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box. Cassie said that she goes, I didn't know what Cosmoprof was, and then she laughed, but I knew how to follow up, and I think it is so beautiful. I used to work for an organization that our leader would go to a conference or a seminar and come back and say, okay, new vision, new new everything. We are going to be X, Y, and Z. And the team were all going, hang on a second. Like we just you just changed oh man, right? So now it's and then 6 months later or perhaps a year, oh, new vision. We're going to change everything. From now on, we're going to be known as the Acrominos. Acro what? Acrominos. What's that? And the interesting thing is, I sometimes when we touch, I I don't. Uh, when something doesn't seem right or the idea is good, but the implementation might not be rolled out correctly or proper or whatever. So I remember saying to our leader at the organization, I said we were in a meeting and I said I think two things. I said I'm concerned, not that this idea is not great, but I'm concerned that we have been jumping from one strategy to another really, really quickly. Like, we don't give it time to even breathe or to see if it's going to work. Within 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, it's like, no, we're going to change. And I said, it's sort of like whiplash for our clients. Because one day we're telling them one thing, and then 2 months later, we're like, oh no, we changed our minds. We're going to do this now. 3 months later, we're like, oh, we're changing our mind. We're going to go do this thing over here. It's like following that dangling carrot, or perhaps the sort of shiny thing. And I said also, I don't know if this philosophy is going to work with the demographic of our clientele, because you'll be asking them to do something that it's absolutely sort of against the way they think. So we will be creating more hurdles, more struggle than facilitating ease. And when people get frustrated, they will give up, right? Well, because I opened my big mouth, it didn't go completely well. But I'm happy to say that I was proven correct. Because our leader said something to the regards of, oh gosh, I remember when it was said, and I was like, okay, they took it the wrong way. I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying, as part of this business, like something to the regards of, last time I checked, I was still the CEO of this company, and I will determine what direction the company will take. And I was like, okay. Um, but it also goes to show the kind of leadership that one has, right? Because yes, if you're in a business and you have to be able to pivot very quickly. So if you have a strategy in place and you see within 2 or 3 months that strategy is not working, number one, or number two, your clients are not buying into that strategy, you need to pivot, right? Because something then is wrong with the strategy. And I always come back to one thing that I've said to people a million times. I said, why don't you just ask? Ask. If I want to know what this demographic or my clientele may need or want, besides what we are offering them already, ask. Send a survey. Get feedback, right? And from there you build. You just don't go to a conference and come back and say, hey, as of tomorrow, we're all going to be space cadets. And we're all going, what? Space cadets. You're all going to be space cadets. And we will speak like space cadets. We will talk like space cadets. We will walk like space. And the rest of us are going, I need to quit. Oh, yeah, yeah. There's such richness in what she said. You need to take it slower, right? Not every shiny thing is going to be for you. Mind you, also she said, and this is the thing that I think is so important. Because see, people take statements as the holy grail, or they take certain statements as, well, it said we should never touch this. Yes, the general thought or information is that you shouldn't touch that. But if it's in danger, or if there's another thing you need to do, yes, you go ahead and you touch it. Right? So the whole thing was, she said, yeah, there was certain order, or that we shouldn't have taken it, but we took it because, number one, we needed it, we needed the money, and number two, like, it was an opportunity that was being presented that might open other windows or doors for us. So you need to strategically think about it, but also you need to look at, well, our cash flow is whatever. I know we said we weren't going to um, do these things anymore because they're such a hassle. It involves a lot of work. But right now, let's just take this one, okay? And I think that is wonderfully said. It's also breaking that myth that things happen overnight very quickly. Yes, you can have a product that blows up, right? But you worked months or perhaps years perfecting that product. Okay, I'm getting off my soup box, my soapbox, and my pulpit. I think whatever it is that I'm preaching from. Once again, thank you for being here. Every time you watch, comment, or share, it means more than you know. I pour my heart into this work because I believe in it. And clearly, if you're here, something brought you too, and it's not my pretty face. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is your moment. Click that button. It's free and it makes a real difference. And hit the notification bell so you will be one of the first people to be notified when something new and meaningful goes up. If you feel moved by what we're building, consider going a step further. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link and a membership option if you'd like to help us keep this going strong. It's like lighting a little candle for something you believe in. And whether you're here quietly or loud and proud, leave a comment if you can. It helps the message travel. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. And once again, thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. To our new subscribers, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting the channel. To our loyal and legacy subscribers, listen, folks, we couldn't do anything without you. So thank you very, very much as we continue to um, do what we need to do to move the channel forward. All right, so let's get back to our topic. At the height of her company's growth, Cassie became a mother. And that's when things broke open. Postpartum anxiety hit hard. She had trouble hearing her baby cry. She felt torn between the business and the baby. For 7 years, she says, she felt like she wasn't good at anything. But she didn't crumble. She climbed through it with the help of her husband, her faith in the vision, and Byron Katie meditations, and a quiet kind of hope she calls sensible optimism. Another one that I loved. Sensible optimism. Beautifully said. Motherhood, thought Cassie, what no business book could. How to set boundaries, how to delegate without guilt, and how to trust others with the dream, right? With your baby. I used to be good at product development, she says, but as CEO, I had to step back and let others be better at it, right? Look, letting go is a tough thing, but one has to remember that letting go is not failure. If anything, it is wisdom, it's survival. For me, one of the things that when I started to work at a consulting firm, there were certain things that I would do. And my senior manager said once to me, why are you doing that? particular thing. Doesn't matter what it is. And I said, well, because I want it done a certain way, right? And she said, well, just give the proper instructions and delegate it, right? Delegate it to someone else. And I said, yeah, but I'm almost like it's going to take another 30 minutes. And she said, Antonio, your 30 minutes is worth a lot more than you delegating it to a junior person and explain to them what you want and how you want it done. And for some reason, I don't know why this never hit me in the head before, but then at that moment it did. And I went, hang on a second, what do you mean okay. So there are these, certain tasks or certain things that if I'm getting paid $10 an hour, for this brilliant mind of mine, and I need to execute at a certain level, then I shouldn't be doing work that can be delegated. There isn't a lot of thinking to it to a person making $5 an hour. That is a junior person, right? These are just examples, people. Just examples. You folks are like, what century are you living in? What do you mean $5 an hour? Ay, ay, ay. But you get my point, right? Because you're being paid $10 an hour in order to be doing higher level thinking, activities, planning, strategies, all that kind of stuff. They're not paying you to be doing this other stuff over here that could be delegated very easily. But as I said, it is hard. It is hard to kind of entrust people that they will do it correctly, or that they're going to bring the same passion that you would have brought to doing whatever the thing is. But you have to. You have to. A CEO cannot be. I shouldn't say cannot be. A CEO can do as he or she sees fit, but ideally, you don't want your CEO to be printing workbooks, as an example, right? That's a waste of their time and their energy and their so-called brilliance. So Cassie's Cassie's journals, in the future tense, she writes what hasn't happened yet, as if it already has. In 2019, she wrote that Cash would become one of Target's fastest growing beauty brands. Today, it is not because she was lucky, because she was ready. That's what happens when you build with love, Meghan says. When the red souls wore out, the vision doesn't. So I thought I would put again sort of like some points, lessons I heard from Cassie's journey. Number one, reorders matters more than launches, right? So these big launch that one may have, oh, we're launching a new product, we're doing this, we're doing that. Pay attention to what is working. Reorders actually do matter, right? You don't need to chase hype. Build something people actually want to come back to. Number two, start with what you can control. Handmade hair ties turned into a multi-million-dollar business. Start with what's in your hands. There was someone in my building. She left her corporate job. She loves to cook. She is a great cook, and every Friday she has um, a different menu that she provides for any of her subscribers that subscribe to the food or the meal plan. And it's just that one day. So you get a menu on Tuesday. If you like anything, you just order, and on Friday it's delivered. Homemade food, right? And this is sort of en route to her eventually having her own restaurant. So as I say many times, when a person's writing a book or doing something, write about what you know or what you have knowledge about or what you've researched. Write about what you know. Third, don't let the CEO title take you away from what you're great at. So as you grow, learn to delegate, 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 delegate. I used to hate that word, by the way. Um, but don't forget what brought you joy in the first place. And I think that's so important because you can get consumed by the business and forget that, putting the products together into a nice box and wrapping it, that brought you joy. And even though it may take away from what you should be doing, maybe just schedule 1 hour a week to do that thing that brings you joy to be in the business. Number 4, write your future. Literally, write your future. So that goes into what is it called again? With having a vision board, being able to manifest certain things, right? So looking into the future and behaving, acting as if what it is that you desire or you would like to accomplish, it has already come to pass, right? It's already, so you are telling the universe, listen, I'm already this. I'm going to act like this. I'm going to walk like this. I'm going to talk like this. And therefore, I am this. So I find journaling to be extremely great, actually. Going back and reading things you wrote when you were in like grade 6 or 7 or something, I'm like, what? What were you thinking? So Cassie journaled about becoming a top beauty brand, right? And years before it actually happened, your words plant the seeds for your reality. Your words plant the seeds for your reality. And this is not a fifth. I don't have a fifth, but this is just kind of a bit of a thought. Don't underestimate the quiet daily decisions. That's where I think the real transformation lives. Right? You will have these big decisions to make, but also it's a quiet daily decisions, those certain things that you may find not to be important that actually may end up being important. I think Cassie mentioned at one point, creating a business where there is humanity within it. I mean, too much humanity, then people may want to take advantage of you or walk all over you. But you need to have humanity. These are people, right, that are working for you. Or maybe it was last week's podcast. Okay, too many things in my head. Too many things. I wanted to have this sort of reflection There is something quietly powerful that each of these women carries. Not just their brilliance, not not also their resilience, but they all carry grace, not the passive kind, not the polished kind, not the red carpet kind, but the kind that makes room for failure, for reinvention, for slower seasons, for being new at something, giving yourself grace. Whether it was Heather Hassan sewing sleeves in in her kitchen, or Jamie Kurt Lima hearing no for years before $1 billion yes, whether it was Whitney Wolf Heard building Bumble after heartbreak, or Rishma Sarjani walking away from law to create space for code. Each woman said, I may not know exactly how, but I will figure it out without losing myself in the process. And Cassie, with her glitter covered retainers, her failed businesses, her seventh logo vision, and her postpartum anxiety, reminds us that success isn't this linear thing. It's layered. It's it's lived. And in this environment, in this world that demands speed all the time, they they chose to make space, space for vision, space for self compassion, space for joy. Now that's not weakness. That's not weakness at all. That to me is leadership. Cassie isn't a girl boss. She's not a pitch deck or a PR package. She's a woman who learned how to breathe through failure, build without investors, to mother through anxiety, and keep showing up for herself, for her daughter, for her customers, for her husband, for her family, her employees. She didn't build a brand. She built a business that listens, that serves, that survives. And in a world filled with noise, Kitsch quietly became an empire. An empire. I will admit that when you are a supporter, a fan, a person who may see the larger vision and mission of whether it's an institution or a foundation or of two people, that you may be inclined to support everything that they do. And right? There's a certain bias there. But let me admit to this. I just every single one of these episodes, there are always things that I learn. There is always nuggets that I can actually take and implement. Some of it, actually, it's not just about business. It's not just about being an entrepreneur. It's also about one's personal life and how does that connect to your work-life balance, and how do we, even if you're working not as an entrepreneur but within an industry, how do you show up, right? And how do you protect your own health, both physical and mental, and the demands that that job may bring to you? Each one of these episodes, there's always, 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 it doesn't fail. There are lessons to be learned. And I love the guests, all of them, because here's something that is very fundamental, I believe. When there are people who have achieved this grand notoriety, and they're consistently in media, or we know all this stuff about them, sometimes trying to achieve what they have achieved seems almost an impossible path, right? What I love about this is that, I'll be honest, I didn't know many of these names. I really didn't. And the story that develops in each one of these episodes is a very stripped down human story. A person with faults, a person with questions and challenges, a person who has fallen and gotten up again, but a person with perseverance, a person that has a great belief in their goal, in their mission, and does everything they can in order to advance that goal. One of the things that I've read, and it's very interesting, and I've said this before, how the tabloid works, or that industry of evil and hate, because that is what it is. Fundamentally, what they do is propagate and promote evil and hatred. That is what they do. Period. Because most of what they write, one cannot verify. Number one, don't come to me with secret informant or source or whatever. No, if a person does not put their name behind what they're going to say, it's invalid. Gracias. Thank you. Secondly, they have these opinion pieces that when you read them, it can be read as a matter of fact, but it's not a matter of fact. It's an opinion. And also, they will quote other tabloids that also did the same thing. So the source, or the information, the source of it is so muddy and make and just filled with with nonsense, but they pass it off as if it's real. So here is the new one of the new things. The podcast is struggling because Meghan Markle couldn't get the big guest that she wanted. Everyone is not picking up their phone for her, and they're not returning her calls. This is a failure. Now, I saw that similar article. Basically, I saw it not too long ago in one of the, either the Mirror or Daily Fail, or one of those promoters of evil and hate. So I'm like, whatever. Then within 2 days or so, I see it on Australia's Sky TV. Then I see it in another publication in Spain. Then I saw another publication, and all they're doing is recycling what was said originally, putting their little stamp on it, and feeding the same thing back to their people now. And I think that's the part that frustrates me the most with all of this is that journalism or journalists or these institutions, newspapers, media in general, they are just taking right and pushing out the misinformation. They are feeding now to their people the evil and the hatred. I was out yesterday um, with one of my friends. This is my friend that I think I've shared with you folks has stage 4 cancer, and I had not seen her for a while because of having stage 4 cancer, being very sick, and she didn't want visitors and stuff, and well, she's out of the hospital now, so that's really great. And yesterday she said, "Hey, would you be interested in maybe going for a walk?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, of course." So we went to have lunch and went to a little gallery, um, and we chatted and stuff. And as we were outside in the patio of the gallery, having some coffee and tea, she said, "So tell me something, Antonio. What's what exactly is with this hatred of Meghan?" And I had spoken to her about this before, but she's forgotten. I only spoke with her about it like once, and this was a while back. So I started to sort of explain to her like the whole premise of what's actually happening, how it happened, and how it continues to happen. She said, "Thank you for that." Just because I must have pressed or clicked on something. She goes, "I usually don't click on anything royal, this or for." She goes, "I'm not interested in any of that." She goes, "But I must have clicked on some story that somehow has told the algorithm that I'm interested in Harry and Meghan and royal news." She said, "Because my entire Facebook feed has now become every day she gets 4 to 5 push notifications about how horrible Meghan is." And all these articles, one after another, opinion this, and articles, one after another, just feeding her every single day. And not one, not, she showed it to me, not one was something positive about the Sussexes. This stuff is darn evil. It's evil. Hatred is evil. And they know, social media, these companies know what they're pushing, they know what they're doing. And it absolutely frustrates me because you see the problem, you know the solution, but greed and money is more important than people's lives. Greed and money more important than people's lives. It is just absolutely astonishing to me. I mean, I live in this world. I live in this world, but I do my very best not to become an absolute jaded person walking around and not caring. The day that happens to me, that's the day I'm done. I'm absolutely done. But when you see the problem and you know the solution, but people, corporations have decided not to implement the solution because it feeds their ego, their bank account, their wealth to promote hatred, evil. It is just absolutely astonishing to me. There is no regard, none at all, for civil ideas in which you don't look at yourself just as an individual, but you look at yourself and what you do as part of an ecosystem of society. It is just incredible. So I am enjoying all of these episodes while these promoters of evil and hate write these insipid things. So Meghan is not getting the phone calls back. Beyonce is not calling her back. So they throw these names out. Now, let me just quickly say about the names that they throw out. These A-listers. Number one, this 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 podcast is not about celebrities. It's about female entrepreneurs, right? By all the means, I am not saying that Beyonce is not an entrepreneur. All of these other people, these A-listers, are entrepreneurs. But that's not the focus of this podcast. It's about women entrepreneurs, ordinary people that had a vision, had determination to achieve that vision. This podcast is extremely built upon the foundation of grit, of hope, of doing everything possible for your dreams to become reality. And it's a step by step book of inspiration of how you might be able to get there. Because from each one of these episodes, you're able to pull whatever you've learned that will apply to you. Right? Maybe in the first episode, you're like, I don't know about this. There's one thing here I can use. Second episode, you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. There's like 10 things I can use. Third episode, oh, well, I don't identify with that one. Nah, yeah, I don't. Actually, there's this. Yeah, I like this. I like that point. Yeah, I can use that one. That's the aim as you build your own entrepreneurial journey. But the lack of thoughtfulness, the lack of any intellectual, I don't even want to say intellectual because it's not intellectual. It's just a way to inspire, to show that you may not even know these names. But look what they have achieved. And so can you. And so can you. Look, I know we say all the time the haters are going to hate, we just block them out and so on. I understand that completely. And I support that 100%. As a creator in this medium, I have the platform and the opportunity that all of you have granted me. Thank you. To have the responsibility, I think and I believe, to also let you know this is happening over here. So you are aware of it. I don't want to sink you down in all negative stuff, but I want you to be aware that it's there, right? But I think also it's my responsibility to do whatever I can to call it out. So ever so often, you will see me engage in challenging that narrative. And I hope you understand that, and I hope you are able to support it also. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. But something else that is actually really cool in the news is the donation that Prince Harry has made to the Himam Food Bank. Now, they've said that he has donated an undisclosed sum. I heard it was a very large sum, but an undisclosed sum from Prince Harry. And they said it will fund more than 650 much needed food parcels. Sorry, I had to stop there for a second and pause because I could feel myself getting very, yeah. So in the letter to Himam that Himam released by the which was released by the charity, um, Harry said that Nottingham holds a special place in my heart, having had the privilege of visiting and supporting the community there for over a decade. The incredible work Human does to address food insecurity, poverty, and social exclusion should be recognized and applauded. I'm happy to be able to play a small part in your mission to bring communities together by creating opportunities and support for those facing hardship. And this is why I support them. That is why. And the evil and hatred in this world is doing everything to shut that down because it does not want to see any good. It doesn't want to see people with notoriety, people with fame shine a light on what's happening to humanity, to the 90% of the rest of us who are making it day by day. Because they just want you to ignore them. Ignore those people. What? We did what? I'll never forget. I'll never, until I go home, I will never forget hearing a minister of a country say on national television, international television, what humanitarian crisis in Gaza are you talking about? There's no humanitarian crisis. Everything's fine. We don't know what you're talking about. And I thought, what evil is this? What evil is this? And I've come to realize that perhaps that is the mission of this relentless attack on anything good, is to shut it down. Because you see, when we have no hope, when there's no humanity left in us, when we don't feel, when we just walk by the homeless person, when we see mental health crises all over us, all around us, and we just put our blinders on and move on. I'm not criticizing it. I'm saying sometimes we have to because for our own survival. As in when you're in an aircraft, they say very clearly, in case of any emergencies, when the oxygen mask falls, make sure you put yours on first. So then you can assist others. Right? So absolutely, we need to take care of ourselves. But once we feel all right, once we feel okay, we should not allow them to discourage us from doing good, showing up and doing good. Because we can. I know we can. and we shine light onto it. We don't shut it down. We shine light. This is it, folks. I love you all. Thank you for tolerating me and the opportunity to sometimes, well, always speak my mind. Not everyone will agree with me, and that's all right. That's okay. I love you all. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your loved ones. And yes, be kind to that stranger that just might be crossing your path. Take care. Thank you. Mwah.